We got to talk all things going on with the Chicago Bears. There's a new stadium update for the Chicago Bears. We got to talk about the linebacking room for the Bears and what changes need to happen there with the injuries that we may have there at the start of the season. Is Tremaine Edmunds safe? Is DeMarco Jackson part of the Chicago Bears' future? And do we have to draft another linebacker to add some depth there on top of what's going on with Ruben Hippolyte? We're talking about all those things plus more right after this. What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content today, y'all. And let's go ahead and start off with, I want to start about the linebacker room. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about the state of the wide receiver room and the running back room. We haven't really done much on the defense. The defensive line is kind of one that we all kind of know where we need to address that heavily. But the linebacker room is in a special place, right? Like, it's in a unique place that I should say, and I don't necessarily mean unique as in good, right? You have Tremaine Edmunds, who had a solid season last year when he was able to be on the football field. 67 solo tackles, 2 tackles for a loss, a half a sack, 3 QB hits, 1 interception, 5 pass breakups. But unfortunately, TJ Edwards missed a lot of season. He only played in 10 regular season games last year. He missed the NFC divisional round against the Los Angeles Rams as well. And, you know, the ability, him missing there was big for the Bears. Then you look at Tremaine Edmunds, 112 tackles last season, 3 tackles for a loss, 1 sack, 3 QB hits, 1 fumble recovery, 4 interceptions, and 9 pass breakups. Coming into his season last year, where a lot of Bears fans were completely over Tremaine Edmunds, he had a really good year last year, a really solid year last year playing for the Chicago Bears. And like I said, he had really a nice bounce-back performance under Dennis Allen, and is back looking like that linebacker in coverage that we originally signed him to be for this team, and he got back to doing that. He was solid in coverage, solid in run support. But the linebacker room, outside of those two, everything else is in question. And even there's a question there with TJ Edwards, right? Like, the question with TJ Edwards is he going to be healthy by the start of the season? He's not like Ozzie Trapillo, where he's going to miss, Ozzie Trapillo could miss half of the season, if not more. TJ Edwards, if he does miss the start of the season, you're probably looking at about a month at that, maybe, where he's going to miss out the season. And, you know, that's counting some preseason too. So he may miss no regular season games. He may only miss a couple of regular season games. So we'll see what happens with TJ Edwards. Tremaine Edmunds, though, is a question because he could be a cap casualty, right? You could cut him even with his performance last year in coverage because you need to revamp that defensive line, which could get very expensive, and the Bears being $5 million over the salary cap, there's that part in it, right? But for what it's worth, it was a really good game last year for Tremaine Edmunds. He played in 13 games. Now, the performance kind of dropped off a little bit after the return from injury, a little bit. He wasn't kind of the same as coverage, but I'm just chalking that up to the injury. But both these guys missed some time last year. And so the question then becomes about what is the state of the linebacker room? And if you look outside those guys, you have DeMarco Jackson, who was able to step in and play pretty well for the Chicago Bears. 43 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss, 1 sack, 1 QB hit, a fumble recovery, interception, and 3 pass breakups. And he played pretty damn good. He was the 13th best linebacker per PFF metrics when it came to that grading system. And he was one of the most productive players under Dennis Allen's system last year. And that's really good. That's really good to have that. He played great. And when he was called upon to do things in a much smaller sample size, he performed well for the Chicago Bears. And with the injury to TJ Edwards, I don't think you can afford right now to lose DeMarco Jackson. You want to keep a player that's come in and performed well for you while you have some questions all over the other places. Then the other, Amin Agbangjamia, I believe is how you listen. I try my best to pronounce our players' names right. But 17 tackles, 1 pass breakup for him. He didn't play a whole lot for the Chicago Bears. He wasn't really to break into the roster in a full-time status. You had Noah Sewell, who had to step in while TJ Edwards was down. He had 59 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble. He had an opportunity this year to step into, and he played pretty well for the first opportunity. The second one, it wasn't nearly best, right? Noah Sewell graded out at 81st among 88 graded linebackers last year. And like I said, he had some opportunities of taking advantage of his chances there, but it wasn't great. It wasn't great when it came down to that, right? So when you look at this as well for the Bears, the linebacker situation is just not clear. You got Tremaine Edmunds, who could get cut. You may not cut him because of the other questions. You have TJ Edwards, who may not be healthy by the start of the season. So you have that question there. You have Noah Sewell, who we don't even know how consistently he's going to be. And then you have a guy like Ruben Hippolyte, right? A guy that, as a rookie last year, just did not play because of his injury and stuff like that. He played in 7 games last year, but there's just not enough sample size to really judge him. One of the things that stood out about Ruben Hippolyte when the Bears took him is his speed. He has great speed. He can come around that edge. He can help seal that. He can come in and help with run support. It's all theoretical, but you don't really know. So the state of the linebacking room is one of the more questionable places. I know the defensive line is going to get more attention than that because of how glaring that was during the season, even when the defensive line was healthy, right? But the position for the Chicago Bears right now, this linebacking position, is one that it needs some clarity. And I don't know how Ryan Poles adds that clarity to that this season. It's going to be on him to find a way to thread that needle when it all comes down to it. But this is a position of need for the offseason. There's tons of position, right? The Bears could move away from Tremaine Edmunds. That can open up some. Do they feel confident in Ruben Hippolyte? You should feel confident in DeMarco Jackson to some degree. TJ Edwards is the guy. Like, when he's healthy, I love TJ Edwards, no doubt about that. But there's still tons of questions here with this linebacking position. And it's one that I think because of the state of the defensive line, we don't talk enough about the linebacking position for the Bears, and they're going to need that clarity there. Now, if you roll it all back, let's say you keep Tremaine Edmunds, you roll it back with TJ Edwards, you find ways to cut and make space to add your defensive line in other places. If you do that, cool, right? But, okay, DeMarco Jackson, Ruben Hippolyte, what are these guys going to bring for you? Noah Sewell has another injury that's going to probably keep him out the start of the season. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Noah Sewell gets cut. Wouldn't be surprised with that. Take that for whatever you will. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. I'm not predicting it to be the case. I just wouldn't be surprised if that ends up being the case for the Chicago Bears this year if they have to make that decision. But this linebacking position is one that needs to be addressed. And I think of course, you can sign if you feel confident in TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmunds, and you roll that back. And if you feel confident in Ruben Hippolyte's going to be able to give enough for you in year 2, maybe you do just have DeMarco Jackson there. Maybe you make another veteran sign in to kind of add some depth there. But I just would not be surprised, and I personally do think the Bears really do need to look at drafting a linebacker this year. That's my personal opinion. That's what I think. I think the linebacking room could use that. I think it could use a little bit more support, and it's up for Ryan Poles to figure that out. But let me know, with everything that we laid out here, let me know what you guys think down below. Is the linebacking position, do you feel confident in it heading into next year? And if you don't, what do you want to see them do with the linebacking position this year? Are there any linebacking prospects that you're looking at in the draft? Is there some pending free agents that you think to have draft? Do you think we do need, if we're revamping the defensive line, do we need to revamp the linebackers too outside of TJ Edwards? Let me know what you guys think on that down below. Would love to hear from you guys on that one. But in talking about revamping the team, right, especially the defensive line, Adam Schefter came out and said this, that there may be an update to league policy that he said on the Pat McAfee show that the NFL is considering raising the trade limit on 3-year draft picks from 5 to 10, right? So with that said, if there's a chance for that to happen and it adds more flexibility for Ryan Poles to do some crazy things with it, maybe that's it, right? We talked about it yesterday. We had a defensive line or a defense that had 35 sacks last year. That's it, 35 sacks. And one of the priorities this offseason clearly should be is finding a partner with Montez Sweat. I think you got to make upgrades on the interior as well. Of course, you got Trey Hendrickson there. You got Maxx Crosby there. I think if you're able to get either one of those guys, it goes hand in hand for you. But this is also a cautionary tale. And what I'll say with that is you do not want to mortgage too much of your future. Ryan Pace did that. And Ryan Poles had to clean that up with his moves in the first 2 years. Almost the first 2 years we're here cleaning up the bad money as far as on veterans and the draft situation, right? So as it stands right now, the Chicago Bears and a team that's looking to build off of what they did in 2025, if the NFL does change that rule and it takes as much place in this offseason, that could put the situation in for the Bears to where, okay, maybe they do go all in. But like I said, you have to be very cautious in what you do. The last thing you want to do is mortgage too much of your future And then you're in a similar situation as what Ryan Pace was, where you have no draft capital for real, or very minuscule draft capital, or not the premium picks, right? Ryan Poles has done a pretty good job so far since taking over the Bears at keeping those premium picks. Those picks in the first 3 rounds, he does a pretty good job usually at holding on to those picks, right? So if the Bears cannot land a big-time edge rusher, or they do feel like, hey, we can't mortgage too much of our future to get that guy, that's where it's going to have to be some magic. And so Ryan Poles is going to have to cook. I've been saying that for the longest. That needs to be the motto this offseason. Ryan Poles has to cook. And for those that still think crazily that it's Ben Johnson making all the decisions, which I'm still surprised that there are some legit adults that think that, it still comes down to Ryan Poles and his ability to cook this year. And we got to see what he's going to do. He has to leave it all out there on the field, all out there, I guess put it all out there on the field once we get everything done. But this offseason has to be a special one for the Bears. It has to be a special one. And, with that said, with Ryan Poles, Ben Johnson getting in the lab, working together on what they need to do, Ben Johnson, Dennis Allen communicating to Ryan Poles what they feel they need. Courtney Cronin had a something that she talked about, the outlook of the Chicago Bears season, right? The Bears were number 11 in power rankings in regards to, what's going on in the NFL after the Super Bowl, right? They asked each beat writer to describe their team's upcoming offseason. And Courtney Cronin, who covers the Bears, says quietish for once. Said this is one of the quieter off seasons for the Bears in recent history. Sure, they have to find a new assistant general manager, offensive coordinator, or running backs coach, but they don't have to make franchise-altering moves ahead of the next season. The Bears have the right coach, quarterback pairing with Ben and Caleb. They establish a winning culture that they can build off next season. There's work to be done on the roster, notably with the pass rush, in free agency and the draft, but this is setting up to be a drama-free offseason. Now, quiet-ish for once is what she said. And I get it that in the blurb that she said, because a lot of people have sent me this and said, whoa, Haize, did you see that the Bears are going to have a quiet offseason? Well, they meant quiet in the sense of the drama around the state of the team, right? There are going to be things that absolutely need to be done on the football field. And as Courtney Cronin said in the actual written part of that, we have to address the pass rush. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. We have to meaningfully address the pass rush. If we do not, it's going to be bad. But having the right coach, having the right quarterback, having the right coaching staff overall, which you got to make some, hirings to replace some of the guys that you lost, that's something that we're not used to being at a place with this, right? So it goes back to Ryan Poles needing to cook this year. And that has to come down through how he goes out and fixes the things that we have. But it could be still a hectic offseason, meaning that, with trades of potentially or cuts of players, trades of some other players that Bears could like. I said it before. Some of our favorite Bears may not be on the team next year, replaced by things that we need on that defensive line. And that comes down to what Ryan Poles does, how he identifies the next steps for this team, and then how he goes about going out there and accomplishing getting those things done. And that's what this offseason is really about for the Chicago Bears. Whether it's quiet, whether it's drama-filled or not, is getting us to the next step. But like you said, for once, this is the first time that head coach is not going to be talked about, because even when we did keep and hold on Matt Eberflus, there was a large chunk of that season where they were deliberating if they were going to hold on to Matt Eberflus. There's no question about the head coach. There's no question about the quarterback. There's no question about those things. And so now we can actually focus on getting those moves that get us to the next step, hopefully, and getting us to that place that we need to be as a franchise and as a team. And let's hope that we can get there. With that said, the Bears did make a hire yesterday as well that kind of went unnoticed. It was reported that the Chicago Bears have hired former Boston College offensive coordinator Will Lawing. He accepted the position as assistant coach job with the Bears to be the passing game coordinator, right? So that makes some sense. You have somebody that was an offensive coordinator in college, that the passing game coordinator is the one that helps decide the routes, helps decide the route trees, help designs plays. And so you're bringing in a guy like Will Lawing to be able to do that for the Bears. This is another really good signing and hiring by the Chicago Bears. Bringing in a guy like this, it just makes sense for what the Bears are going to do. You're trying to continue taking that step up with your offense, correct? Like that's what we're trying to do. Is we're trying to make that next step as a team, and you want to keep as much with your offense as possibly together as you can, right? But with that said, when you look at Will Lawing and what he's been able to do with his career, he did play, he coached with the Houston Texans in 2014. He spent 3 years there as actually the defensive quality coach under Bill O'Brien there with the Houston Texans. He then moved over to Alabama for the 2021 season where he was there. He worked under Nick Saban as an analyst there. He then worked for the New England Patriots in 2023, again under O'Brien. He was hired as the tight end coach there. And then last year, he was in 2024, he was hired by Boston College as the offensive coordinator. And then when O'Brien accepted the head coaching role. So this is a guy that's coached primarily under Bill O'Brien, but it's a guy that has, I love the fact that he has history on both sides of the ball. He's been the offensive line coach. He's been the defensive quality coach. He's been a tight ends coach. He's been a offensive coordinator. So you really like guys in those positions that have held multiple roles because they can add different perspective all up and down it. That's what you love to see. So, Ben Johnson continues to add the right guys there for the team and make the right steps and the right preparation to get this team where it needs to be. And those are things that I love to hear. So shout out to Will Lawning to become a Chicago Bear. We're going to hold you accountable. With that said, and talking about the passing game coordinator, right? Caleb Williams, as of right now, is the betting favorite to win MVP in the 2026 season. Oh my God, how I know some people hate that. He's a plus 1,500 right now as far as his odds to win the 2026 MVP award. Now, that means nothing as far as on field. Betting is betting. It's its own world. It really means nothing in the grand scheme of things as far as on the football field. We already know and have seen Caleb Williams, and we know what he's capable of. We know that he's a very special talent, has very special skills that can help the Chicago Bears. But I will say this. If Caleb Williams is able to have an MVP season, whenever it happens, 2026, 2032, whenever it happens, if Caleb Williams wins an MVP, do you know the way that the anti-Caleb people are going to completely, like the Bajan baddies are already been spiraling all year. The ECH Bears fans have already been spiraling for the entirety of the 2025 season, right? But for Caleb Williams to do that and to make that leap, though, it does come with the refinement that we've already talked about that we need to see happen from this Bears team. We've all talked about it. We've all discussed it. We know that we need to see quite a step in the right direction for this Bears team in a lot of areas. But Caleb Williams winning the MVP would mean he's probably made some of those steps, especially on the efficiency side of things. And we'll see what happens with that one. Like, I just wanted to point that out because that I read that and I was just like, hey, shout out to Caleb, man. Caleb is our quarterback. And I know you still have some people that still want to throw salt on that or still doubt that or still throw whatever they can to try to act like he's not. Caleb Williams is the Chicago Bears quarterback. He's the quarterback of now. He's the quarterback of the future. And he's a damn good one at that. And him and Ben Johnson, and with the weapons they have on this offensive side of the ball, I'm excited to see how this offense continues to evolve over years. For the first time, I think we're going to have an offense that's going to stay the same and a quarterback and head coach pairing that's going to stay the same for a long time. With that said, though, let's end the show on the stadium update. We do have a stadium update. This one comes from Fox that says this. We're in consistent conversation with the Chicago Bears. This one came from Illinois Governor J.P. Brisker. Says, we're in constant conversation with the Chicago Bears. The most important point I want to make is that we are not going to do anything that's bad for taxpayers. We're helping businesses build infrastructure and other things that are available to any business that are growing and building something new in the state of Illinois that's putting people to work. Those are normal incentives, and that's what I expect will end up for the Bears. So, there's been a lot of talk over the last couple of weeks of the Indiana Bears and those things happening and stuff like that. I'm sure that, and listen, Kevin Ware is very he's very intentional about this. He knows exactly what he's doing. Kevin Warren is very aware of what he's doing here. When he went to meet with Indy, and that's not to say that I don't think the Bears had some serious interest in Indiana, but he knew that will put pressure on the state of Illinois to get some shit done. That's it. The renderings of the new stadium look great. And I have no doubt that whenever the Bears do get their new stadium, and hopefully sooner rather than later, it's going to be a beautiful stadium. It's going to be a state-of-the-art stadium, and it's going to be somewhere that we are going to feel very good about going out there and supporting our Chicago Bears. I have no doubt about that. But you still got to get that done. And so it's up to the Chicago Bears and the state of Illinois to get the business aspect of that done so we can move forward. That's it. And so whatever the Bears had to do to put pressure on that to get that done, I'm glad that they did it. Now, go out there and make it happen. Let's go out there and make the next steps. And let's go out here and keep the Chicago Bears in Chicago. Because, listen, they could legitimately move. And the Indiana Bears, is that something that y'all want? No, it's not. On top of having an empty Soldier Field? No, it's not. So we'll see what's going to happen with that one, man. But that is my time for today, y'all. I want to appreciate you guys for tuning in. The Chicago Bears, as we have been made plainly clear over the course of this season, the Bears are not rebuilding anymore. We're refining. We're in the stage of being able to compete now. That's what this Bears team is. We are competing, right? The linebacker room, I feel, needs answers. I want to hear from you guys on that one. The defensive line definitely needs juice and a shot in the arm. And Ryan Poles might be sitting on a huge opportunity to really turn this team to the next step even further. And let's get it. So while this offseason may feel like it's going to be quiet-ish, aggression level is what's going to change everything for the Bears. So let me hear you guys' thoughts down below. Keep or cut Tremaine Edmunds, draft a linebacker, trade for a star edge rusher. Where do you sit on all these topics? But with that said, you guys can follow us at Shy Bears Central. You send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bears related. But that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.